Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's guest episode, where today I have Lisa Gallagher. Lisa helps individuals and businesses multiply their results through cultivating a positive mindset. With so many suffering from anxiety, lack of self-belief, and mental health issues brought about by the pressures upon us to always perform well and be high achievers, I feel it's important for us to address these issues and help in finding a way to navigate our way around them. Welcome to Lifted, Lisa. It's really nice for you to join me today. I'm really pleased you agreed to come onto the pod and share your life with us today. And I'm really intrigued to know more about you and what you do. So I would start by asking you to introduce yourself to our listeners, telling them who you are and what you do and how long you've been doing it for, please, Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Carol. I'm very grateful to be here, and hello, everybody. And yes, I'm here really to talk about mindset. My background, I am Lisa, and I'm a business owner, and my main experience is within the beauty industry. I have a salon, which I've had for 15 years. I've been in the industry for over 25. And I've recently embarked on a path of personal and professional development through own experiences of my own within my business, which affected me professionally and personally. And I did end up in a bit of a bad spot, really, which I found difficult at the time to juggle with running a business, having the pressure of other people working for me and their families, and having my own family as well to think about. And it set me on a path of personal development and mindset, which has completely changed everything for me and my family and moving forward within my business. And I am now just about to open in the new year my new training academy, which is for practical courses within my industry, but also based around the personal and professional development and building those social skills and the personal development of people, of individuals and businesses as well.
Yeah, fantastic. That's really good. I mean, it does sound really interesting and something very much to aspire to for me anyway. It's like if there's anything that I can say about personal development and people generally is to the ability to be able to be in a position to help people become a better version of themselves is definitely such a great skill to have. And it's also something quite beneficial, not just to you as an individual who's doing it, but to the people that you're providing the service to as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Can I just ask if this is something that you've always had at the back of your mind, or if it's something that you've evolved into, or how did it come about you wanting to? Obviously, you've mentioned there how you struggled before and you got to where you are, but is it something from earlier on, like say growing up? Is it something that you always wanted to do, would you say?
I do think so. Yeah, I think definitely the industry that I am in, there's definitely two sides to our job, and especially at the moment, I think in particular with our younger generation and the issues and the problems of social media, the pressures of social media
Yes.
and self-image. And part of our job is always there's two sides, because people do come because they want to look better, they want to feel better, and they do enjoy having these treatments. But a big part of our job is actually talking to your clients. It's on a
Yeah.
personal level. You build up such a relationship, such a trust. And what we've created within the salon is actually more of a feeling. We have a huge range of ages that come within the salon. We have young, daughters of our clients, and up to we have clients in our 90s, and everybody has that feeling of feeling welcome, feeling comfortable. And yeah, I think that's really been a huge side of my job that I've really enjoyed over the years.
Yeah.
And now going into the world of personal development, which I think a lot of people actually don't understand it very well. People think it's all a bit airy fairy, and really because they don't understand. When you start taking responsibility and actually go within then it does create a huge change.
Yes.
And part of one of the books I'm studying at the moment is actually a plastic surgeon. It's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it's based around self-image and people having plastic surgery, having different treatments done to change how they look, when actually we have two self-images. We have the exterior self-image and we have the inner self-image. And it's the inner self-image that people need to change.
Yes, absolutely.
But actually don't know how to change. And that's really what personal development is about. It's not just self-help nonsense. It is when you start actually taking responsibility and looking at that inner self-image, that is actually what creates and changes all your results on the outside.
Yes.
And that's where I can really bring this into my industry and other industries, because we do look at how to change that. And a lot of it is teaching people how to think, not what to think. And my main within my industry is to train a new generation, an elite generation of therapists, so that we can have this, be educated in this material, so that we can pass this on to our clients. And within my programs, there's lots of different avenues and different workshops and masterclasses that you can actually go down to start learning some of this stuff and actually start learning how the mind works. And this has definitely been a huge part of my journey and what I'm actually always along the lines always been passionate about. And in the last sort of few years, especially having been through certain things myself, I think a lot more people are struggling at the moment. And I see that with people coming in the salon, what they share. And, you know, there's a huge sort of anxiety epidemic at the moment, that, you know, sort of really needs, I think we need to stop talking about the problems and actually finding the solutions.
Yes. So just help me understand a bit better about the setup of this. Is it like, so you've got a salon, right? And then do you get the clients to work on their mindset when they come in the salon? Do you speak to them as they're having, say, their head on, or how does it convert from you getting them from the salon to like talking about the stuff we've just discussed?
Yeah, so this is where my academy now comes in, because through obviously my own situation, and it did affect me. It did affect me massively, and I would say I'm a confident person. I was a confident person, and these things affected me, and I became no longer confident, and it was affecting my professional life, my personal life, to the point where I probably nearly closed my business. And I actually, going back to, I worked on the cruise ships years ago, and a very good friend of mine gave me a book called The Secret. And when I went through this difficult time, I went back to the book, and I actually watched the film. And one in particular person really stood out for me, and it was a gentleman called Bob Proctor. And I started following him, and I really got into his teachings, and it really, really resonated with me.
Wow.
And I have a family, so I couldn't just jump on a plane and go over to his events over in Canada or America. And he had one of his main highest performing consultants is a lady called Kim Calvert. And I started to follow her, and she's in Belfast. And I flew over to Belfast. And this was where my personal development journey started. I did a very low-key masterclass. It was only £47. And I flew over to one of her live events, and it was incredible. I have since become a consultant for Kim within her company. And she used to be a mental health nurse. And she then left her job, and she has created a multi-million-pound global company and is helping people change their lives through this material. And so within the salon, I sort of started to learn, you know, what people needed and what they talked to me about. And obviously I've spent 2-3 years nearly in intense study of this material, so that I can be qualified enough to pass this information on to other people and work alongside Kim. And so that's where the academy comes in, really, because That's where I will be doing a lot of my online coaching, which will be all different avenues. Like I say, there's all different programs. We have free trials of a social learning platform. We have masterclasses, workshops, and then there are other mentorship programs that you can go down. And that is where I will be offering these sort of programs and services to clients within my own salon. And because it's all online, then obviously we can reach a much bigger audience.
Yeah.
And when I went through my difficult time, rather than, I stopped blaming outside circumstances, and I actually took responsibility and said, how can I help more people in a bigger impact, with a bigger impact, and let the success be my noise, and really sort of come back, actually use my setback as my biggest ever comeback. And I am about to open my academy early next year. And like I say, that is really focused more so on the personal development. When you actually focus on that, the professional development just automatically comes with that, because you know how to change your results through your thinking.
It is really interesting, this. I mean, like, when you mentioned all that, it's like somebody's talking about me. It's bizarre because, again, it's how the universe works to bring people who you're aligned with to you.
Absolutely.
And the listeners don't know this, but Lisa and I don't know each other in person. And actually, Lisa got introduced to me from a fellow coach who knows her, Cheryl. I've had her on the podcast before. She was one of the first ones to come on. And she just said, like, Lisa looks like the sort of person you'd like to have on your podcast. And I thought, I went on her Instagram and I thought, like, absolutely, like, all the things that you stand for and the values that you're talking about and everything is exactly what I stand for as well. And now that you've said about your journey and where you're at, and reading The Secret and watching the film, that was exactly me, because I got to a point in my life where I got stuck and I didn't know how to unstick myself. And it was really hard time, because I struggled with a lot of things and a lot of emotions, and I didn't know what to do. And so, like you, I went in search of an answer, and that's where I landed on The Secret. And I read the book. Didn't really take much out of the book, because at the time I don't think it registered, and I didn't actually get. It felt a bit woo woo at that point, because I was not at that point of having an open mind, and willing to explore things beyond what I thought I knew all through my life, which is your paradigm and the habits that you're born and instilled in you. It was really hard to break out of that. And then I found Bob Proctor. And it was like somebody was talking to my soul. And I'm not even joking. It was literally every word he said registered in my head, and the bells were ringing in my head. I was thinking, like, oh my God, I've never had somebody speak with such authority, to a point where I actually understand everything he said, and everything literally made sense to me. And all of a sudden, my mind opened up to so much. And there's like, I sat down and I thought, like, oh my goodness, I've been like sat here and I've got so much power within me to do so much, to help so many people. And I've got a platform to do it. And I just need to put things into action and get myself into that place where I'm actually doing it. And this is where most people don't actually know what to do with their lives, because they have all these ideas and they're just that. They sit on them because they don't believe in themselves enough, or they don't feel like they're good enough, or they're worthy to achieve or attain certain things in their lives, or they're not clever enough, or whatever it is that goes into your head when you have something that you want to do. And that blocks them. It literally just blocks everything that you could possibly achieve, which is a lot. And that inner power is within us. Literally, you just have to be able to tap into it. And so that brings me nicely to my next question, which is going to touch on you again with the salon. You have the chance to explore a varied age range. So obviously, the way you deal with an 18-year-old is not the same way you'll deal with a 90-year-old, say.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the things that you help your clients do in order to achieve a mindset shift to enable them achieve their goals, bearing in mind the age difference? And how do you tackle that in terms of the younger generation and the older generation, if that makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another part of my journey, really, and why I've tried to create what I've tried to create, and especially with having an academy where I can base this from, because I've not even opened the academy yet, and it's started to create a buzz really around it, and
Yeah,
people, opportunities, and people are actually contacting me because people, like you said, a lot of this stuff people think is self-help nonsense, and it's all a bit woohoo, and it's all, weird stuff.
yeah,
When you actually break this down and you make it really simple, everybody, this is open to anybody that has a mind, because when
mm,
you actually understand how the mind works, it is so simple.
yeah,
And and it relates to everybody within any age range. And I have two boys, and like I say, I've got a vast range of clients within the salon, and just general people that
mm,
and when you start to educate yourself with this material, you start to realize that certain people start coming attracting to you. When you start functioning at different levels,
yes,
you do attract different people, and it's any
absolutely.
age, and people start to tell you things, and actually people start to listen to you. And I have, like I just said, sorry, I have two boys, so they're age 9 and 11 at the moment. And I break this down and I use it in different analogies. So they're both into football and one's into boxing. So I use this material and I break it down, and I use scenarios that would suit them.
Yeah,
And part one of my goals is to be able to bring this material, this mindset work, to children in sport, children in schools. I think mindset is a huge thing that should be in all of schools, especially where self-image, self-confidence,
mm,
because even as adults, that's what people are carrying through with them. And taking this to that level, you can start planting the seeds early on, and with
yeah,
repetition every single day, it's going to sink in, and those seeds start to grow over time.
mm,
And I think, like you said as well, the self-confidence and self-belief and those things, that comes from different things that we're told all the time, or we're
yes,
listening to social media, the news,
yeah,
teachers, parents, all those different things. And we actually have the choice to take that as a positive or a negative, and something to actually hold you back or something to drive you forward.
yeah,
And where confidence, and again, this is for any ages, nobody starts with confidence.
no,
Or people do come across as confident, but actually, like myself, that was really knocked out of me at one point,
mm,
and I had to build it back up. And I use this analogy with my son, especially with his boxing. You start with a tiny bit of courage and a belief, and not many people have that in themselves. It comes from borrowing someone else's. That's where people like Bob Proctor, Kim Calvert come in. When you have a mentor, it's like having a personal trainer
yeah,
for your mind.
yes,
And
exactly.
you don't wait until you've got a six pack to then get a personal trainer. You get
No,
the personal trainer because they have an expertise in that area. They can show you how to do it. You don't have to worry about the how. And
mm,
it's the same with a mentor and with mindset guidance. It's exactly the same. You don't wait until you're better to then get someone to help you through what you're going through.
yeah,
And a lot of people with this material and this kind of information, they aren't confident they don't want to ask for the help. They don't think they should ask for the help. They don't think they need it, because they don't understand actually what it is. And when you break it down, you have that tiny bit of courage, you've got somebody to constantly feed you and fill you with that belief. That's when it grows. You start stepping out of your comfort zone, And because actually everything that you really want is outside of that comfort zone.
Yes.
Everything that you need is in it, and everybody, that's where everyone stays comfortable.
Mm.
When actually those feelings of, oh, I don't know if this is right, and that feeling of doubt and fear and worry, if you keep pushing on past those, that's where your confidence comes from.
Yes.
And that's when you take it into any aspect of your life.
Mm.
And like I say, this is where it goes from any age.
Yeah.
And you'll know yourself. One of the very, very simple lessons is with the stick person, which is a
Yeah.
fantastic lesson.
It is. Yeah.
And my mentor is incredible at teaching this to any age, any level,
Mm.
and really getting you to understand this. And it's when everything really comes down to your attitude, and your attitude is made up of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
Mm.
And that's what creates your personality, and which is your personal reality.
Yeah.
And that's what you're creating for your life when you take responsibility yourself.
Mm.
And this is where your thoughts of, you have that choice to choose if something's positive or negative, and what you actually listen to and what you believe.
Mm.
That's then planted into your subconscious mind, which is where your feelings come in. And then the actions is your results. So really, all of those things need to be in complete alignment.
Yes.
And that's what's creating the results. So when you're looking at your results, it's just a measure of where you are now.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
not a negative. It's just to show you the point that you're at and where you want to go.
Yeah.
And when all of those things are in alignment, that's when your results start to change. It's like a gambling machine. The three things have to line up for all that cash and money to come out. And
Yeah.
it's the same with your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and then the results that you're actually getting in life.
Yeah.
And you
True.
can relate this to children, to adults, everybody.
Yeah. And also just touching a bit on the subconscious side of things, because this is quite a powerful and a big topic as well.
Yeah.
We as human beings have got the ability um, to control what comes into our minds, if you will. And so your
Yeah.
subconscious doesn't really know what's reality and what isn't. And
Yeah.
so it can, whatever it is that you in your conscious mind believe will always register in your subconscious, because that's what you're feeding it. And so when it comes to like things like being influenced by what's around you, social media, your friends, what you're watching, what you're listening to, you have the ability to accept or reject it. You don't
Yes.
always have to let it sink into your subconscious, but it's how to do it that a lot of people don't actually know. And you end up letting things that shouldn't sip into your subconscious get in there. And once they're there, that becomes then your reality, doesn't it? Um,
Yes.
and it's about having that ability and that power and control to be able to sift through things which will serve you and
Yes.
let go of things which are not good for you or detrimental for you. So then
Yes.
that brings me to the next thing, which is decision making. A lot of us are stuck in places because you're afraid. You're afraid of change. You're afraid of what that will mean to you financially. You're afraid of how that will change your life, which is probably okay if you've got like an okay life. You know, you're comfortable. You're paying your bills. There's nothing really wrong with how you're living your life. But it doesn't mean to say that it can't be better, or you can't want more, or you can't actually achieve more, because the whole point of being a human being and being a spiritual being is progression. And you always have to think of progression as something good, not something that's negative or something that's unnecessary. For a lot of
Yeah.
people, I feel like sometimes it's like they'll say like, yeah, but I've got everything I need. Why would I want to do more? Or why would I
Mm-hmm.
want to get more? And my take on this, and please feel free to shut me down if this is something that you don't agree with, but I feel like, and I was one of those people. This is why I'm able to talk about it now. I always felt like my life is fine. I don't actually need to go any further. Or I'm
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. It's good. Why would I want to rock the boat? Why would I want to do something different? And so then decision making becomes really difficult, because there is that you're frightened of change. You're frightened of what that will mean to you. What tidal wave it will cause to your family, to your friends, to everybody
Mm-hmm.
else around you.
Yeah.
And it's to the detriment of your true happiness, really, because sometimes the very thing that you're scared of doing is the very thing that would actually make you live your best life, if you will, or be the best you can be. And I feel like a lot of people are just like on the fence, or they're not quite where they should be, but they don't really want to push to be better. What is your take on this, and how would you coach somebody out of this sort of mentality to help bring themselves out a bit more, and to help them realize that progression is actually key, and self-development comes with that as well? How would you coach somebody out of this sort of mindset?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you there. And yeah, people, we do have the choice of what to think, and we are living in a world where change is inevitable. The world is changing so rapidly, and I think this is where children are getting stuck at school, because the curriculum really isn't changing, and children are living in a completely different world. And I think you're right. There's a lot of people. We're so focused on what other people are doing and what other people have got. And actually, a lot of this social media world is a false world.
Not real.
But people are spending so much time, wasting so much time on social media and looking at other people's perfect lives, when it is quite often the complete opposite. And with the younger generation, we need to start teaching this from a young age. With adults, I think it's a case now of unlearning and relearning. And again, this is where you said about how to actually think, and you've got the choice. And in this sort of world as well, we're talking a lot about mental health. When you say the word health, it has a positive feel about it. As soon as you say mental health, it switches
negative.
to a negative.
Yeah.
And really, everybody has got some form of mental health. It's like we've all got a level of fitness, but we're all at different levels.
Yes, true.
And that's okay. And people don't know how to get out of this. And this comes with procrastination and decision making. And people do want more. They don't sometimes say they want more, but deep down,
they do.
That is what they are feeling.
Yeah.
And they're sick of looking at other people and looking at what they've got and then feeling bad about their own lives. And this is where this anxiety is coming in with people. So many people now are suffering from this anxiety. And it actually comes from being indecisive, procrastination.
Yes.
And the actual word itself is indecision. You're actually in a decision. Once you've made it, you automatically feel calmer.
Yes.
And this is where the anxiety comes in. And a lot of people don't understand this, and it can be so simple when you do. And you don't need to do. I've invested a lot of time and money because I want to create awareness. I want to help other people. But there's so many little things that you can actually do as an individual to start learning some of this stuff. There's so much free information. And the best thing, the most valuable thing that this has done for me is that I can pass this on to my children. And where the anxiety comes in is where you've got your fear, your doubt, and your worry. And this is constantly going around in your mind. And every time you have one thought, that one thought has an effect on your nervous system. It affects your body. And everyone says people suffer with illnesses. They suffer with eczema. It comes out in the skin when they're stressed. And any individual, on an average, has 60,000 thoughts a day. So this is where the anxiety is coming in, because all of those negative thoughts, which you repeat on a daily basis, is having an effect on your body. Because the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, the worry turns into anxiety. That is then suppressed, which creates the depression. Then the depression turns into the disease. And that's where your body is at dis-ease. And this is where people are getting sick, people are getting ill, and they don't know how to change those thoughts. It's from that root cause of what you're actually thinking. And when you start to learn, like you said yourself, you have that choice. It's like having a bouncer on the door. When someone says something to you, and we quite often hear it within schools and teachers, when there's some children that aren't necessarily academic and they're told, well, you'll never make it, you'll never do anything, when actually that's planted a seed. But that person, that individual, has the choice to, take someone else's who says, I believe in you.
Yeah.
You are good at, you're going to be good at something, you just haven't found what it is yet. And let's look at high school of finding out what you are good at, not what you're not good at.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it is definitely the indecision,
Yeah.
procrastination,
Yeah.
it all adds to this anxiety. And I think it's something 100% we should be teaching in schools.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
should be within businesses. A lot of businesses are now bringing it in. And it's definitely something that, I'm so passionate about getting this information out there. And because it can be so, just by making some small changes, you mentioned before about habits, you can change so much of your
So
life.
much. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I have a really good way of looking at it myself, about being able to actually choose what goes into your subconscious. It's like, say, for example, if you know something was the color red, say, and somebody came to you and say, that's yellow, you'd be like, nonsense, it's not yellow, it's red. And you'll just shut it off, wouldn't you? You
Yeah.
wouldn't be arguing with somebody about something that you can clearly see is red.
Yeah.
And I kind of try and use that analogy in the same way. So if you've got something there on social media that's making you feel like you're not worthy or you're not good enough, shut it down. Like, just think like,
Absolutely.
absolutely nonsense that I know what I
Yeah.
am and I am capable of doing so much more. So therefore,
Absolutely.
just because I'm seeing other people doing, which isn't even real life, to be fair,
Yeah.
just because I'm seeing that, I shouldn't really allow it to sit into my subconscious and make me feel really rubbish about myself, because
Yeah.
I know I'm
I
capable.
think, I'd like to add to that as well, because recently I read something and it was about taking advice from people that haven't got those results themselves,
Yes.
or actually have never been in your situation. I let a situation of worrying and it was really because I'd worked so hard on to build a certain reputation of my business, and we've never advertised, it's all been word of mouth. And I let what other people were thinking and saying affect me massively personally, and my confidence and everything. And actually, it's only now that I'm in a completely different place. Why would I listen to those people? Why would I let those people judge me or other people when they have never run a business, never managed
They don't
staff,
know what you have to
aren't
do.
doing it while they're opening another business, haven't got young children at the same time, and have
Yeah.
absolutely none of the information that actually was there in the first place. And this is where we have that choice to,
Yes.
to listen or not listen. And like you say, it's the same with your social media. And one really good tip is, because it's again talking about habits, and this material helps you change your habits, your daily habits, daily disciplines, and keep you focused on what you want to achieve rather than everything the negative and what's not happening.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
change your social media feed.
Yeah, true.
When I pick up my phone, I don't go on it a lot. And when I do, it's for a reason. We're using everything for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
social media does have that negative aspect. But everything that comes up on my feed is to do with mindset, positive
Yeah.
affirmations, business leadership, millionaire, sort of things to follow, groups
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And literally every day on my feed, the only things that's on my feed is positive stuff. Nothing comes up of a negative nature, because once you start doing that, it's the same for your children. Send them things, look at things on their own phone, because even if they're looking at all this other stuff, every now and again something positive will pop up
Yeah.
if you on the algorithms and things like that.
Yes, true.
My eldest son is into boxing, and we will look at stuff, and we've watched the Rocky films, and the amount of positive mindset teachings within boxing is
It's immense.
absolutely is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and if that kind of thing is coming up on your kids' phones in between all this stuff, it's planting seeds.
Yeah, true, true. And that's what you need, especially from an early age, because can you
Yeah,
imagine what great people they'll be in the future when they're grown ups if they've had that
absolutely.
instilled in them from that age?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's, you know, you don't need to start with money and you don't need to start with an education. A
Mm,
lot of really successful entrepreneurs and successful people have left school with no qualifications, started with no money, have been bankrupt or nearly bankrupt, and they are some of the most successful people in the world.
yes, yes,
You know,
true.
this is the stuff that we need to be teaching children
Mm.
and adults, because even adults don't know this stuff.
A
There's
lot of us don't know
entrepreneurs,
it.
even Bob Proctor, you know, he didn't become, he'd been studying this material for a long time, and it wasn't until The Secret was actually released and out there that
Mm.
he actually became really known globally,
Yeah.
and became hugely successful. And he was in his late 60s, early 70s.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's never too late. We need to drop the excuses of time, age, money, all of those things, because once you start educating yourself, all the resources start actually, you know, working towards you.
Yes,
Definitely.
true. And it all stems down to that very moment you decide you need
Yeah,
to make a decision and you need to follow through. So
absolutely.
decide. And when you
Yeah,
decide, when you, what does Bob say? When you want to do something, you'll get the energy to do it. When you start doing something, you'll get the energy to do it. But
absolutely.
you need to start moving. You need to start
Yeah,
doing it. It's all
yeah.
very well sitting down and having vision boards and doing all that. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to action anything, it's never going to manifest, is it? You
No,
have to move and you have to start doing the thing. Do the thing and you'll
yeah,
get the energy to do the thing.
yeah. Like you
So
say,
that's
absolutely. It
what,
doesn't cost anything to make the decision. Make the decision
yes,
that you're going to do it. And I think this is a
yeah,
perfect time for us to be having this conversation. I think our you know our industries do are very much in line with each other, and obviously what we've been talking about is very much in line. And this is a perfect time of year because people are starting to worry about next
yes,
year. They're thinking about
true.
what they haven't achieved this last year. They're
Mm,
thinking about all the negatives,
yeah,
and actually, a lot of people really don't like New Year.
mm,
And those first couple of weeks into January are really a quite a hard, difficult time for people.
yeah, yeah.
And stop putting the pressure on yourselves and just make a decision.
Make
That's
a
it.
decision. Yeah, make
Make
a
a
decision.
decision, choose what you want, and
Commit to it.
focus on it every day.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Make a habit of doing small things every day,
Yeah,
and don't let things overwhelm you. If you don't hit your target for the day, it's fine. It's not the end of the
yeah,
world. You go
yeah,
again tomorrow. You always think
yeah,
like tomorrow will be okay. Tomorrow will be better. I've
yeah,
not done as well as I could today, but tomorrow is another day. We can go again. We can try again. And
absolutely.
new page. So it's really just about getting those habits into place, little bit at a time, every day, small
Yeah,
steps. And before you
absolutely.
realize it, you're 6 months in and you've actually established really good habits that you're sticking to without
Yeah,
it causing so much of an overwhelm. It doesn't
yeah,
actually have to be something massive or something big, which is what I
yeah,
think most people think of when they think of changing. It suddenly becomes like, oh, it's this massive thing, and I don't actually know that I can do it. But it doesn't,
yeah,
Rome doesn't build in a day. You have to start just with that one step and repeat until it becomes
absolutely.
habit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. And I think, you know, again, changing your mindset of failure being a bad thing, it's not a bad thing. You
no,
actually, you know, when you learn so much more from those mistakes and failures than actually, you know, from when you're winning. You don't, you know, you experience the growth when you actually fail in something. Or
yes,
and I think people have to remember that it's not you, you're not the failure. It's just the event, the thing that's
the event.
happened is,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
is just the event that's happened. You
yeah,
aren't the failure, and you
yeah,
have the power and the ability to
yeah.
actually overcome that and create something from that.
Yeah, but also it's two sides to a coin. You can't have success without failure, can you? How will you know
No,
it's success if you haven't failed? You
absolutely.
at some point you
Yeah,
fail to know what
it
it's like to be successful. You can't have
it
one without the other. You know what
absolutely,
I mean?
it creates in fact, this was just on a Conor McGregor documentary I watched with my son not long ago. It actually, from his failure, it created a much stronger desire to
Yes.
succeed.
Yeah, true.
And you could see in his mindset, he talks a lot about this stuff.
Mm.
And you could see the absolute focus and determination from that feeling of failing. And, you know, that's worth more than, you know, than anything. You learn so much more from that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And also touching back on something that we mentioned before, about the fear of change because you don't know what people will say or people will think about you. Just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to put this in here that what other people think about you is absolutely none of your business.
No.
That's
Yeah.
entirely up to them what they think. If they like
Yeah.
you, they like you. If they don't, that's also okay. As long as you're
Yes.
focused on what you need to do and
Yeah.
stay in your lane and just have your blinkers on and
Yeah.
focus on where you want to get to. Commit to certain things, as we've said,
Yeah.
make those small habits every day as you go along. Just have in mind that it doesn't have to be perfect every day, and it doesn't all you don't always have to tick all the boxes every day, because I
Yeah.
feel sometimes
Absolutely.
have that pressure of, oh well, I said I'll do this today and I haven't done this, so I just throw the towel in because I failed now. And
Mm?
it's not so much that, it's just about having those small habits in place every day. And I'm repeating this because it's so important for people to understand that, because that's where you get your success. It's not
Yeah.
about the successes that you do, or the what you manage to do every day right, or if you're getting things 100% right all the time. It's not about that. It's about getting the small things done every day, and just,
Yeah.
letting things be, not holding on to things so much so that it's overwhelming, or
Yeah.
it gets on top of you. But
Yeah.
just knowing that it's okay if you tick your boxes that day, it's okay, and if you don't, it's okay too. Nobody stood
Yeah.
there with a gun to your head saying like, well, you didn't do this, so you're dead now. And you
Yeah.
don't need to throw in the towel and just go back to your old habits because you failed on one day.
Mm.
As I say, you will not know success if you don't know what it's like to fail. You will
Yeah.
not know what a good paycheck is if you haven't got a bad paycheck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All these things are there to
Yeah.
really help you progress, because you'll
Yeah.
think like, well, I didn't do really very well last year. And it's coming to that point where people are having reflections for
Mm-hmm.
the year and what they've managed to do. So just going into this new year, if there's one message I'd like to put out there, is for people to take everything that they haven't achieved through the year as a positive, because you'll never find it as something. It's not a loss. It's a
Yeah.
lesson. So you will look
Yeah.
at it as a lesson and think like, well, I didn't do that this year, but next year is
Yeah.
another year and I've got things in place. Have a plan. Always have a plan, because that massively helps.
Yeah.
You don't have to stick to it all the way through, but have a plan where you know you can do small things at a time and they're manageable and achievable things.
Yeah.
So smart decisions, are they measurable? Are they, time the smart choice of doing things? You don't always have to take everything all the time every day,
Mm-hmm.
because that's exhausting. We're human beings. You can't always
Mm-hmm.
function 100% every day. Some days you'll have low energy, some days you'll
Yeah.
have very high energy, some days you perform great, some days you won't. And I think you would agree with me, that's a good way to look at things going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I think a good way to look at it is, I mean, some people, you know, we have spoken about mental health, anxiety, and there's a big difference with mental health and mental illness and things like that. And I think there are a lot of people that are struggling with, like you say, people feel like they've not done what they wanted to do this year, and actually, you know, feel so guilty about certain things, when
Mm.
actually a lot of people really have managed to succeed and get through the year and get through every day actually just by surviving every day with things that they have been through.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think people need to be able um to acknowledge those things, and
Mm-hmm.
actually for some people that is a huge breakthrough.
Yes.
And some people that haven't got what they want or where they want to be, it's the same with the kids in school and your exam results.
Mm.
The way, you know, I like to look at it is, it's like your sat nav, and all your current results are just a measure of where you're at right now.
Yes.
And you don't know, you need to know that to know where you want to be and where you want to go. So you don't just put in your sat nav, your destination. You have to have a starting point, or otherwise you will literally just stay where you are.
Yes, true.
And I think more emphasis should be on that with children and kids in schools with exam results. It's not, it's not about what you don't know, it's what you do know. And it's just to measure where you are.
Yes.
And say, right, okay, that didn't work. Right, let's course correct. These failures and hurdles, it's just like on your sat nav, you've set your destination, you know where you're starting from. And when you're hitting the traffic or a wrong turn, it's just a case of course correcting your way through.
Yes.
And when you actually start to, understand and study this material and, take advantage of some of these free masterclasses and workshops and podcasts like this that give such good value and information, again, like you say, with the habits, every day, if your day hasn't gone the way you want it to be, you know how to reset your mind for that next day. The first thing when you wake up in the morning is not to look at your phone and all the negativity and what everybody else is doing on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. You create these daily disciplines that help you, like you say, do it for that day, and then you literally repeat it every single day.
Yes.
And this is scientific, a scientific process that actually gets results. It's not just nonsense that we're talking about. And I think us having this conversation and letting people be more aware of this material and this information, it's not just nonsense, it actually gets results.
It does get results and it does work. And so going on to this next thing, we've covered quite a bit on the mindset stuff and how to get results and how to position yourself so you're in a place where you actually know how to get to your goal. Now, I want to cover on a big subject here. Well, it can be viewed as big because a lot of people have got a different way of defining it or describing it. What is your take on what happiness is? How would you describe happiness? And what would it take for someone to actually say or come to the realization that they're actually well and truly happy? What's your take on that one?
I think this is a really big question. And I think there's a lot of people that aren't happy. And I do speak to a lot of people within the salon, but also now with the route that I've gone down now. And, there is a lot of people that are unhappy. And I think happiness actually, again, I think you have to go within or you go without. And people are trying to change all the wrong things. They're focusing on the wrong things. The having goals, and these don't have to be like I'm in a program of high performance elite mentorship. So I have really big goals. And because I am in a community of people that are achieving really big goals and people that are, I am taking the lead from people that have got the results. Now, this comes down to any individual, anybody that just needs a little bit of help, needs something to focus on. And, the goals can be lose £5. It doesn't have to be lose 5 stone. It could be going for a job. It could be literally getting through your days. And when you have a goal, you have a focus and you actually don't have the time to worry about anxiety and have the fear and the doubt and the worry, because you know how to train your mind to focus on the good. And I actually think when you do actually look for, the true happiness that comes from within, it doesn't come from, it doesn't come from getting things. The things don't make you happy.
No, they
It's
add on
the
to
people. It's the people in your life. It's those moments that you have together. It's your family time. It's the things that really actually don't cost anything that, mean the most. And I think when you do have that calmness of mind, when you do let go of a lot of things that people are carrying around with them that are holding them back. And I think really that's the you know, the true meaning of it. And I
Yeah.
think the freedom, okay, you know, a financial, you know, part of it, I do have big financial goals, and because I want to create a life of financial freedom for me and my family. I want
Yeah.
to give us choice and opportunity. I think that's what, you know, it's not about the money, it's about the freedom and the choice, and then being in a position to help so many other people,
Yeah, absolutely.
and share that, you know. So I do think that, you know, it's having that calmness within and being happy and content with who you are actually,
100%. I
rather than
totally
being
agree.
so, you know, this pressure of being a certain person or
Mm.
looking a certain
Certain
way. I
way.
think we should
Yeah.
all take a minute to actually be, you know, grateful for getting older, because some people are taken away too young.
Mm.
And, you know, we're so focused on the physical image of ourselves instead of living in the moment and appreciating the people that you do have around you, and, you
Yeah.
know, the good things about your life.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of the people, like we say on social media, and have all these things, it's not always as it seems.
No, it
So
is.
I do think it's you know, it's something that's within that really makes you happy.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. And I mean, for me again, it's about that inner peace and inner calm, regardless of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
That would be what I would define as true happiness, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes people go out in search of happiness, like they're searching for it,
Yeah,
but they don't realize that you don't actually search for it. It's actually within you, and it's in you.
absolutely.
And it's
Yeah,
just about being able to be aware of what that feeling is, and being
yeah,
aware of that inner contentment and inner calm of
yeah.
mind. You know, when your mind is calm,
Being comfortable in your
yeah,
own skin,
everything else can
being
go off
comfortable
around
with
you.
who you are.
Yeah, everything else can be going off around you, but if you're just content with what you've got and how you are as a person and where you are in your life, regardless of what you've achieved and what you have financially, or what friends you've managed to have all through the years, regardless of
Mm,
all these things, it's the inner contentment and inner peace of
yeah,
mind. You can just sit and feel like your mind is quiet. It's not
yes,
like eating away at you. That
yeah,
for me is happiness.
yeah,
Obviously everybody's got their own definition of it, but that's my take.
yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think, as you know, it doesn't come from someone else either. You will
no,
never get that complete feeling
no,
from somebody else. It has to come from you.
it
And I
has to
think
come
when you
from
do,
within. Yeah, other
you know,
people will add
yeah,
on to it, but it has to come from within.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of the a big quote from my mentor Kim, who had very big struggles within who she was, and pressures from, you know, different areas in her life. And she did go over and fly over to Bob. She spent a lot of time with Bob Proctor,
Mm.
and he once said to her at a seminar, if I want to be free, I've got to be me.
Got to be
And it's
me.
not the
Yeah.
person who your parents want you to be. It's not
No,
who your partner wants you to be.
true.
It's not who anybody wants you to be. And I think if you really, you know, stay focused on what you want and how you want to be and how you want to feel, everything else then fits into place.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Brilliant. Right. I feel like we've covered quite a bit on there. I
Yeah.
am going to go into a slightly different topic now.
Yeah.
And seeing as this is a fitness podcast as well, I
Mm.
would like to pick your mind up on a few things, if you may, please. Um, as we get older, we've just mentioned there about not appreciating what we have. The older we
Mm-hmm.
get, don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Especially women, when we get older, or as we get older, we tend to start feeling less confident in our own bodies, or
Yeah.
self-image. And it gets worse when things like menopause sets in and you get all the
Yes.
symptoms and you feel very rubbish and very like, what's going on with me? What
Yeah.
are some of the things you would say to bear in mind to help us as women navigate through these feelings when we get to that point in our lives?
Again, yeah, I totally agree. Again, I think this is a huge thing that comes up, especially within a salon.
Mm.
And being of a certain age myself, it does, you know, there are a lot of conversations around this subject. And again, I do think there are certain people that suffer a lot with the medical side of things and do actually need medical help. But I do think there are a lot of things that people can do to help themselves. And I think procrastination is probably one of the biggest areas, I think,
Yes.
within, women of a certain age. I think mum guilt is a big,
Yeah, that's
big,
big.
a big thing.
That's big.
And I think purpose in life, I think especially once kids are grown up and you've literally dedicated your whole life to your children and you don't actually know what you're doing, you kind of feel a sense of loss.
Yeah.
You are, physically not where you were. You might not look how you used to look and all of those things, which then has a knock-on effect to your relationship. But again, I think it all comes down to your self-image, I
Yeah.
think, and working on your own mindset, because when you do and you work on that self-image and the self-confidence, then everything does change.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
You learn time. People use time as an excuse all the time. And we all have the same amount of time. And there's very successful women and men that have the same amount of time. It's managing your activities and not
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah.
It's, again, getting off the social media, making yourselves feel, thinking that, going and having this done to your face or this done to your body is going to change how you feel. Those things don't change how you feel on the inside.
No, true.
It's the two self-images. And actually when you start to work on this stuff, you have more energy, you have more time, and everything gets better. Your relationships get better with everyone, with your partners, with your children. And I think women don't give themselves enough credit.
No, I know. I
Stop
think so too.
looking, stop looking at the bad things. Stop thinking you're a bad mom. You're not.
You're
You're a
not.
really, really good mom. And another thing that comes up quite often is women of a certain age that don't have the confidence to go for a job or go for a promotion.
Yeah.
And actually, when you look at what a mum or females of these ages actually overcome in a day and actually achieve in a day, the amount of things that you actually get done before you even leave the house,
I know.
to then switch your mind into a different person and go to work and be the
Yeah.
person you've got to be at work,
Yeah.
then you get all sorts of things thrown at you because your kids, things have changed, there's something after school, you've got homework, you've got tea to think about, your husband's shift has changed, all of these different things. And we're not juggling enough. We're thinking on a bigger scale. We need to break it down and just think of what you need to do right now.
Right then, yeah.
And then, like you say, right in one day, and then just repeat it the next day. The next day is a new day. Yeah. And when you haven't got that confidence in your workplace or to go for a job, you're running a business at home, really. You're managing a team of people who have got all different personalities.
Yeah.
You've got hormones going mental and all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're running a business at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give yourself the credit that, you can do this in the workplace and just stop doubting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, true. 100%. I agree with that and now you've put it that way, it's actually quite interesting because most people don't think of it like that, because it's oh, it's just what I do at home, that's just what I do. But it's not just what you do. It is a lot of juggling, and it is a lot of decision making on almost on an hourly basis, even if not less.
Absolutely.
And things change very frequently. You have to move with how things change. Literally, you can have your plan set out that the day is going to go one way, and then that you have to completely abandon that plan when something happens. I don't know, a child falls sick or breaks a leg or whatever. You literally have to change everything around to deal with the situation at hand. So it's a really good way of putting it. The only way to deal with it is just deal with what you're having to deal with at that time, at that moment in time. And then when that's dealt with, do the next thing. and then
Yeah,
the next thing. And then that way,
definitely.
before you realize, the day is finished and you've actually ticked all your boxes without it being
Yeah.
so much of an overwhelm or so much thinking like, oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you don't focus on what you have done in a day. You just focus on that one thing where your
Yeah.
child might say, oh, you forgot this, or you didn't do that, or husband says something, or, you know, it could be anything. And you
Yeah.
focus on that one thing
One
instead of
thing, yeah.
thinking of all the things that you
That you
have
actually
done and
done.
you
Yeah.
have achieved.
Yeah.
And actually, I think one thing is very, very important as well for anybody, but in particular women that are going through menopause and things like that, is have
Yeah.
some time out to yourself. You know,
Yes. True.
you've got to have that time out, because if you don't, and that's just to again reset your mind, have a bit of calmness in mind. You know, a lot of people meditate now,
Yeah.
and that is actually a really good tool to use. Because when you can just go to that place and just be calm, just be still, and
Mm.
take that few minutes, you can fill that cup back up and to go again and give yourself to your kids and your job and your partner and, you know, whatever it is that you juggle in life.
Yeah.
I think it is really, really important.
It's very,
When
very
you're
important.
going out for a walk, a lot of people have dogs now. Listen to something that's beneficial, that's of value, that's going to, you know, change how you're thinking or add
Yeah.
some value to your life.
Yeah.
It's all those little things, and it's just
Mm.
learning, it's just knowing how to do these, and what there is, you know, all these different tools to use.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that brings me on nicely on to the next thing now, because you having mentioned the self-care side of things and having
Mhm.
time out to do something for you, I would like to ask you to talk to us about how you manage day-to-day living, balancing work with family life, maintaining a healthy balance between the two, and still having time for self-care. You know, as we've just mentioned, for us women, you end up being in charge of everything. So how do you
Mhm.
manage your own time? What are the key strategies to think about as one sets out to achieve this sort of thing? You know, the balance, and to also have in there time for you as self-care.
Yeah. So through what I've learned, what I've been studying, I've learned to really manage my time. I think that is a really key point.
Mm.
And what I actually focus on, what is important to me. And throughout the sort of last 2 or 3 years, I've dedicated a lot of time to studying this material,
Mm.
and creating programs and a pathway for people, which, you know, is having huge results and changes for my life and my family.
Mm.
And it is having those daily disciplines of, I've had to sacrifice, you know, quite a few things, and but that's only short term. You know,
Mm.
I haven't probably been out socially as much as I would. There's certain things that I say no to now. I've had to really look at what's important to me. I've spent a lot of time just at home. I enjoy my time at home,
Mm.
and, you know, with my family, and that's the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm really happy. And like I say, you don't need a lot of the other things.
No.
And I've been able to focus my time on what I want to achieve.
Mm.
And yeah, not, you know, not worrying about looking what other people are doing, and for maybe sacrificing a year or two and saying no to certain things
Yes.
for me to achieve what I want to achieve is going to pay me back in so many ways, you
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
in the long term.
Yeah.
And having those daily disciplines, that I stick to every day, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I literally focused my mind and train my mind on how to think, and what I need to achieve that day.
Fantastic. That's really interesting. That's great. We have actually managed to put out there quite a lot of information that I'm sure our listeners will get a lot of benefit from. There is quite a lot of detail in there. And just to summarize, it's all about having that change in mindset, having a mindset shift where you believe in yourself a bit more and you give yourself credit where it's due. You don't beat yourself up about things that you haven't managed to do or any boxes that you haven't managed to tick. It's
Yeah.
about taking care of yourself from the inside, being mindful of what you feed your subconscious, but also making time for you so that you can actually have some downtime and recharge and reset, but also be able to fill your head or your conscious and subconscious mind with a lot of positivity and a lot of positive energy. But also the one thing that we haven't mentioned is the fact that you also have to surround yourself with like-minded people or people who
Yeah.
are better than you to enable you to actually progress and become
Yes.
a better version of yourself. So
Yes.
if you've got big goals, you want to also find somebody like a mentor, somebody who can guide you through things that you wouldn't know yourself,
Yep.
and also give you like a guide into doing things that you wouldn't normally have access to or be able to do on yourself or by
Yeah.
yourself. So this can be a mentor, whether it's a mindset one or whether it's like a personal trainer or a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I do online coaching for body transformations,
Yeah.
and that in itself also goes a long way because I feel like if you feel good about how you look, you're most likely to feel good in the inside as well. But what we
Yeah.
mustn't forget is that a lot of the work starts from the inside. We have to work from the inside out. So by the
Yeah.
time you get to work on your outside bit, that's just like the icing on the cake. Really
Yeah.
want to focus on what's up here and what's in here. Um,
Yes.
so that we bring nicely, we're all nicely rounded up, and everything works in conjunction with each other and they align together that way. You can't,
Absolutely. I think,
yeah,
that's where you said it is a fitness podcast. And, my industry and your industry, it works, it goes hand in hand, really. And a lot of it is focused on how you look.
yes,
And, people work towards getting the six pack and they think, oh, that's it now. I'm going to feel like, the best person in the world. And
yeah,
still they have those inner feelings.
yeah,
And that's where it's the same, in my industry. A lot of people are turning to surgery and things like that to make them feel good. And actually, again, they still feel the same.
yes,
And or you get to a certain point and you think, right, what now? And that's why people, I think, become so successful, because when you actually get to the goal, you want to grow more.
yeah,
So it keeps you going.
keeps you
We get
going.
to live every day.
Yes.
And that's why people that have made a lot of money still work, because it's the
Yeah.
growth that they experience,
Mm.
from within. And our industries do go hand in hand. And
Yeah.
I think especially for, especially in fitness, if you do competitions and things like that, what is going on in the inside definitely comes out on the outside. And when
Absolutely.
you have that level of inner confidence, that shows,
Yeah. Yeah.
in every area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what will make you stand out in a competition fitness. It will make you stand out in a job interview.
Yeah.
It will make you stand out at, in any area. Your
Absolutely.
confidence, your attitude, those kind of things is where, like you say, you start attracting certain people. And that's where, when you are in a community of like-minded people, and who you surround yourself with makes a huge,
It
huge
does.
difference.
Massive difference.
And mentorship it's not just about life coaching. People sort of do get the things mixed up. And this is a very much a scientific process. It's step-by-step process to gain results, and it does work. We've got so many people with huge results. So yeah, definitely. And there's different mentors for different people.
Yeah.
And like you say, you will always attract to the right one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So now we're coming to the end of this podcast, Lisa. I would just like you to tell our listeners what things you've got upcoming in terms of the services you offer, and
Yeah.
how the listeners can get in touch with you if should they wish to reach out to you for these services, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, a great time of year for all the things that we've got coming up. And I can pass the links on. They'll be on the social medias, and I can pass them on to you as well for people
Yeah,
to
I'll put them
just
in
click.
the notes
Yeah.
before this video when I post this out when it goes out.
Excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. So, January the 8th, we have a free masterclass, and this is called Ignite Your Results. This is actually with my mentor, Kim Calvert, who, like I mentioned previously, she became Bob's number one. And she now has a huge company called Dynamite Lifestyle, and she creates huge results for people in all areas, individuals up to huge businesses, professional athletes. This is for everyone.
yeah,
So there's an incredible masterclass that's on January the 8th. That's online. So what I'll do is I'll pop a little note with the link to that. It's through the Source landing platform,
yeah.
which is a social platform. There's a 14-day free trial, and there's loads of stuff for mindset, meditations, daily tracking your different things. So that's on January the 8th. I'm actually hosting a live event, which I will be putting the event onto Facebook later on today.
Yeah.
This is going to actually be based around reset your mindset. So this is going to be helping for all these people that have got, all these New Year's resolutions, but we don't stick to it because you haven't, you don't know how to sort of stick to these things. So it's going to be reset your mindset. I work alongside a lady who is a practice nurse, and she is highly educated in menopause. So she's going to be there on the night.
Brilliant.
And I've got Cheryl Harris, who you mentioned before,
Yeah,
and she's going to come and talk about health and fitness.
brilliant.
And you'll have the chance to win a month's free health and fitness program with Cheryl, actually.
Oh, good.
So that will be a good one. So that's on the 18th of January.
18th
So
of
I'll put all
January.
the events in there.
Yeah,
And we also have through Dynamite Lifestyle, we have a 90-day program which is called Path to Achievement. And this is for, going to be looking for about 10 individuals. I want a small exclusive group of people who are willing to invest a little bit of money in themselves and a bit of time. It's a 90-day coaching facilitated program, and this starts you on that path to really get results, to start changing your results. We focus on who you are, where you are, and where you want to be. And that's getting incredible results within our community and our programs. So that's called Path to Achievement. So I'll have all the links. This is great for this time of year. Stop feeling bad about yourselves. Don't focus on what you haven't done. Make a decision, take some action. There's different things all in there, that some of it's free, some of it's very low ticket, some of it you might want to invest in if you really want to change your results. So there's something for absolutely everyone.
Fantastic. That is really great. As I say, I will post all those details in the notes under the video when I
That would
post
be great.
So I usually just finish off by asking my guests a random fun question. And for you today, I have, imagine you had a magic lamp and was granted 3 wishes. What are they and why? That's the hard.
Wow.
Wishes. Or if you can't get to 3, have 1 or 2.
So, well, actually, because of what we actually study and what we actually teach, the 3 wishes really, I suppose, are more goals for me. Because this does teach you to dream and wish and think big. And I suppose it's a little bit like the Santa list, for sort of what children wish for, and they get. So I would really like to become an international speaker, and for my academy, for me to launch my beauty matrix program, which I would like to fly my family first class to Vegas and launch it at the International Beauty Show.
Oh, nice.
In Vegas. That would be one. I would like to buy a beautiful villa abroad somewhere and travel the world with my family and share it with others. And yeah, I think have a really successful global company and change how people think and how they feel and get them results, and really support my community and where I live and children and around sort of my community, and bring it
Yeah,
into sports and everywhere really. That would be a big wish of mine.
that's incredible. Absolutely amazing. You've got big dreams, eh? Big dreams.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way to
Absolutely.
do
Why
it.
not? Why not?
Go big or go home.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
love it.
definitely.
Absolutely
Yeah,
love it.
definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure of mine to have you on my pod today.
Oh,
Absolutely
it's been
loved it.
fantastic. Thank
I've
you
enjoyed
so
it
much. I'm
so much.
so grateful.
Have.
And I hope
Yeah,
it's, I hope it's helped some people.
yeah, it
We're
will.
definitely on the same wavelength, Carol. And
Yeah,
yeah, there's lots of things that I'll post in there on the links and everything. So thank you
fantastic.
so much.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So I love you and leave you for now, and
Yes.
we'll let our listeners go. If you've been listening all the way to now, we do appreciate it. It's been a long one, but it's been definitely been
Yes.
worth it. So
Yeah,
thank you
absolutely.
everyone for
Thank you.
listening, and thank you, Lisa, for coming. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we might be able to get you again later on in the new year, because I
Absolutely.
feel like we've got so much to explore and so much to talk about that we haven't necessarily
Oh,
exhausted. So
absolutely. It'll be a
yeah,
pleasure.
yeah, fantastic. All right,
Thank
Lisa,
you.
thank you very much. And to our listeners,
Thank you.
see you on the
Happy New
next
Year,
episode.
everybody.
Happy New
Happy
Year,
New Year.
everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.